The NBA trade deadline has come and passed? Yeah, passed? About, I guess, depending on passed. Okay. I'm like, "Wait, hold on, I
Right.
gotta check that to make sure." So we're in the clear. No more craziness, as now players say goodbye to their former cities and hello to their new cities. We will get into a lot of the trade deadline recap. There were some big ones, players getting sort of what they wanted.
I mean, real quick, you're riffing right now, but like, what a week. I
Mhm.
mean, I look back at this and I say, and again, thank you everybody for dealing with my voice. I am still like somehow congested a little bit. This is
Rough.
like the
Yeah.
longest I've been sick. So if I have to like randomly cough, Justin, you may have to take over a sentence. As you can see, it's already starting a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I have never seen, and I mean, the Super Bowl is tomorrow. We're recording this as of Saturday, February 8th.
Should we make our predictions?
No, God, no. I'm petrified, dude. I'm like, I feel exactly like I did in 2018, which turned out pretty well for us. But like, I don't feel good about this game at all. I feel horrible. I'm already like, my anxiety's on 20 about it.
Put
But
the house money on Saquon plus 2 touchdowns in the game.
yeah, I mean, I might believe that.
Or pair it. Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown, Saquon rushing touchdown. Whatever that plus is on that parlay,
I
put
just
at
don't think,
least $600 on it. This is from a financial standpoint. You legally have to listen to me.
God, I just don't want to lose 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, man. Like, I really don't. Like, I've seen them win in my life. Like, that existential crisis is over. But yeah, anyway, we don't
Well,
need to
and
do
if
that.
you guys like again, not to say the underlying thought though, like this was a whole level of Saquon that
This is the best Eagles team
yeah,
ever, like,
yeah.
period. Like, full to stop. This, if they
So
win, they will jump the team that won the bowl the first time. Like, from a talent perspective,
yeah.
there aren't many better than this. We just have to deal with Mahomes and his devil magic and whatever black voodoo he pulls out to, like, from the depths of the underworld to pull this out, which is what the Chiefs have been doing all the time.
Mhm.
If
And
it
the
comes
rest.
down to a ref call like 2022 did, I swear to God, I'm not watching football anymore. Like, I'm done. It'll get me out. Like,
It does feel like it does feel like if the Eagles don't get it this year, that sucks because like will everyone be as healthy from like the Saquon standpoint?
no, you know
Yeah.
they're not gonna run it back the next year. Like, it's extremely hard to get back to the Super Bowl, like, that many times, like, and I have faith in them to build another roster, but I just would want this particular team to win, like, even so much more than the 2022 team. I don't feel great about
Well,
it. I would love to be wrong, but
why
my
don't
greater point with
oh,
stopping all this is that the NBA the NBA has been the story of the week. That never happens leading up to the Super Bowl. Like, we talk all the time about how the NFL is king in America. The NBA really legit jacked the headlines this week. It has been a lot of hoops talk going up to the big game. That is definitely good for the NBA. A lot of talks, a lot of times, so far in the season, we talked about, ratings being kind of and it feels like the product is off and all that other stuff.
mhm.
I mean, that's a good sign. Granted, it took maybe the most unexpected trade in NBA history for that to happen, but
Which we will get back into because there's been a little more fallout there from Luka's comments and
yeah,
some more. Again, from the betting side, anytime Luka plays the Mavs from now on, just bet the over on
of
everything.
course. I mean, that goes without saying. Yeah.
And so yeah, obviously we got some other big ones too. Jimmy finally got what he wanted, which we can get into. Although maybe not fully what he wanted, because I know Suns was kind of the target, but we'll also talk about the Suns a little bit. I feel like Chase would prefer us to talk a little bit about the Magic because he was kind of talking to me about it yesterday and his frustration there. And
Magic
I
fans
said,
should be frustrated.
and I said exactly what I say every single year with the Orlando Magic before the All-Star game. It is right when the wheels fall off. It's been a tale as old as time.
Jeff Weltman's a
0,
fraud. I'm going to
0.
fire the cannon early. Jeff Weltman's a big fraud and needs to lose his job. Give him like, you get credit for Paolo and Franz. They
Yeah.
have done such a bad job at filling out this roster, and like some things haven't worked. We'll get further in depth. Like, KCP has been really disappointing, and I mean, Paul George, unquestionably the most disappointing contract, but like KCP, I
I don't
was
know, man.
so bullish on this team for Orlando.
I agree with you on Paul George having disappointing contract, but I think Suns fans would probably say Bradley Beals might be a little more disappointing
You can't get rid of it, I guess.
I know.
Deal. Paul George, we're stuck with for 5 years. He stinks in year 1. It's not even like, oh, he's good. Paul George stinks. He stinks. He's already a disappointment. He's fallen off a cliff. He's a certified loser who hasn't won anywhere he's gone. And I don't know why we're surprised at how this has played out. But like the Sixers have continued to reach like losing to Detroit the way they did when Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George are playing. Like y'all are pathetic. Y'all are a pathetic loser organization.
Yep. No.
All of them, top to bottom. Losers. They're all losers.
And to put it in perspective, obviously Philly fans are looking for the Super Bowl, but I was looking at the other day, it was like, when does spring training start up? It's not that far away, so we can start transitioning right into
bro, that's all. Well, that's the not to put the homer hat on it and talk Philly sports, but I mean, I think that's the other reality too, is like, yo, the Eagles are the only shot we got to win in anything anytime soon. Like the Phillies have been competitive, but like the last 2 years, they've kind of fallen off a cliff. The Sixers are never going to win anything ever. The Flyers are also never going to win anything ever. So yeah, you're kind of stuck. I mean, the Flyers fans are trying to sell me on this little rebuild and be like, oh, we're finally trending in the right direction. I was like, what? You're playing Mitchkov 8 minutes a night and raising ticket prices, and you haven't scored in 3 games. Like, what direction are you heading in? That's the right way.
How's the Soul this year? Weren't they pretty good for a few years there in a row?
Can I get a WNBA team, please? They're going everywhere except for Philly. Like,
that's kind of surprising from like market size, right? You wouldn't just put a Philly team in there.
I don't know. I would love it. I would love for somebody new to root for. I think I may God, this sounds so lame, but like I may turn my Sixers fan card in and just go back to full-time LeBron James fan. I don't know what I'm going to do when he retires then. But yeah,
you gotta get someone
way
younger.
More satisfaction out of that in my lifetime anyway.
You got to go for someone younger, you know. You got to get like maybe it's a Luka. Just transition to Luka because
I want to be a Lakers fan though. That feels so chalky.
Well, I mean, if you're LeBron, though, you're going to be Lakers for a little bit.
I do get to still hate the Celtics, though, right? So that's cool.
Which, my hot take, bro, and we'll talk about this with the Cavs, is I thought about this whenever they played. It would have been last week because I ended up watching the game. I also ended up watching Oklahoma City, and I want to say it was a few days ago, and SGA was cooking. Yeah. He was cooking. He had 36 at the end of the third, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy can't be stopped." But back to the main point was, if I can remember the main point now, because my ADD just popped me off. I don't even know where I was going with that original thought. I was watching
SGA, Cleveland.
Oh no, yeah, Cleveland, bro. They can't beat the Celtics. They can't.
They beat them once this year.
Well, they've lost the other times, and so, bro, I'm telling you, I saw that, and I think they play one more time. Yeah. If you go 1-3 to the Celtics, like you're doing nothing for me. And I think that's why they did what they did at the trade deadline. So we'll talk about that.
That's what we'll save, because I'm with you. I am fully with you in that. Yeah, I don't believe it either.
I saw that and I was like, cool. Yeah, having the best record in the NBA is cute. But if you can't put down the Celtics, even in a regular season game, I'm not feeling good about it. And
yeah, you have to beat the Celtics at some point. Like a regular season success doesn't do anything to me for the Cavs. Like I need to see this core win in the playoffs.
I agree, but I think the Cavs are also young, where regular season success is something they still want to focus on. On the other side would be the Celtics, who obviously are winning and doing well, but I think that team is way less in need of having a successful season like that because of what they've been doing the past few years, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. It's, I don't know. I mean, most of their core is young. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's young anymore. I think we got to stop calling him a young player.
You think Donovan, hold on.
How old? For like 8 or 9 seasons now, almost.
How old is he? He is, he's 28.
He was a young coming out of college.
He's only a year younger than Brandon Ingram. Right? Brandon Ingram's 29.
Yeah, that's Brandon Ingram was 2016 draft, so
that's crazy. Okay, well, we can get into that, but obviously for warm-ups, although we went way all over the place, we did want to talk all-star teams. If you want to break them down, at least before we get into that. So, the all-star game prize money is each player on the winning team will win $125K. Each player on the second team gets $50K, and each player on the third team gets $25K. Team Chuck is Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Wemby, Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, and Sengun. I can't ever say it.
Şengün.
Sengun. I don't know why I can't say. Either way, Team Kenny. We got Ant. We got Jalen Brunson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Williams, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Cunningham, Tyler Hero. Honestly, like kind of my least favorite of of the combos, which sounds bad, but when you hear Team Shaq's team, which is LeBron, Steph, Ant, Tatum, Durant, Dame, James Harden, Jaylen Brown, you kind of look at Team Kenny like, ooh.
Well, Shaq's got like the old guard, right? Like I feel like he has all
Yeah.
the all-stars who have been here a zillion times before. I mean, it goes out saying with LeBron and Steph, but like you've got KD, you've got
Yeah.
AD, you've got Dame, you've got Harden, you've got the two Celtics. Like
Shaq went old school, Chuck went new school, and Team Kenny got everybody in between.
yeah, Kenny's team is definitely the worst. I don't even really think it's close. Chuck's team is really intriguing. Chuck's team is huge in terms of size. Like
Yeah.
when you've got Jokic, when you've got Wemby, when you've got Şengün, when you've got Towns and Siakam, Giannis is. I mean, you have literally Donovan and SGA are your only guards there, but like that might work. I kind of like what they got going there.
Yeah, I do like Team Chuck, and I'm interested to see how it matches up when they do go up against Team Shaq, because that'll be, again, like you were saying, Team Kenny's is out of the three is definitely like the least exciting. But I feel like in years past when we have team lineups like this, the team that is like the least exciting is the one that has the most to like play for kind of deal. So like maybe they do a little something. But either way, that's the lineup. There will be another team that comes from the what is it? The Rising Stars Challenge, right? That's how that works? So we'll have a fourth team. We don't have it at the moment. And that will kind of round out the tournament. So
yeah, if there's any kind of like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Evan Mobley are good defenders, but like if you go up against the size of the other
right, like what do you do?
Chuck's team, you have no chance there. You're just get obliterated.
Yeah. So I don't know about that, but
I mean, we'll see how it works. Like this format wise, like obviously this is the first year they're trying something new. It might stink. Who knows? Like that's the beauty of it. We don't really know what's going to happen.
Which at least gives you a little bit of intrigue to watch this time around, because you don't know, what it will look like. And
it can't be worse than last year. Like they're not, the game is broken. And so to that token, I'm cool with them giving it a shot and trying something new, because it can't be much worse than it was last year. Like it's not entertaining to watch them just like run fast breaks and throw lobs. Like
okay,
it's not.
Hear me out. Instead of like, the skills challenge that they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I was watching it the other day, have you watched the Mr. Beast games at all?
No, I mean I know what they are, but I haven't watched
there's a way deeper, like, is this messed up level of conversation, because it's literally a playoff of Squid Game, which is pointing out that rich people have a lot of power and it shouldn't be that way. But either way, the game itself, if you take it for face value, is very entertaining in the aspect where, like, it's like Survivor, it's like Big Brother. Like, you have these competitions that get people eliminated. So I wonder if, like, again, this doesn't necessarily speak to the game part of the All-Star Weekend, but like, could you do something where it's the top, I don't know, 100, just to say whatever, to give it a number, the top players that are voted in fan vote, which I know gets a little funky, so throw the media in there to try to try to correct some of the weirdness.
Right.
But all the guys are in, and on, the first night, it's everybody's in doing their thing, and like each day is a lead up to the All-Star game, which does have a prize pot of whatever for the winning teams, like we were just talking about. But like throughout the competition, players are eliminated to get out. And then the last, I don't know, whatever it is, 10 players, or in this case, enough players to make 3 or 4 teams, are the last ones that get showcased on that day. They get to play for the prize pot. And then all the games can kind of be like what you would do in the skill challenge, 3-point competition and stuff like that. I don't know. maybe there's something there. Like you can turn it into a full week leading up, and everything kind of works towards the end result that is the All-Star game. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I
I
don't
just
know.
don't know if it. It's just trying to think out of the box at this point. Like, do it where, if you do it like this way, it's a game of freaking horse or something, and the player gets eliminated. But I don't know, something
Do
like
you
that.
remember when we were breaking down horse during COVID and we had to
Yeah.
talk about the NBA horse? Man, like I'm amazed we kept the podcast going during that time point because, like, you want to talk about scraping. I always say the
No.
first episode after the beginning of the new season is hard because it's like, what takes do you possibly have after 3 days of hoops?
Mhm.
Like, man, that was a
Well,
different
we
time.
changed. We talked like not basketball stuff for a little bit while the podcast while NBA was not happening, and then obviously once the bubble got going, we were good. But yeah,
Oh, the
everything.
bubble saved our life, man. Shout out to Keith Smith, our
Yeah,
guy, holding it
he was.
down, keeping the
He was.
NBA afloat.
I was gonna say he posted about something. He posted about something the other day. It was like an anniversary of him deciding to quit his job and go full in on NBA.
Oh yeah, man.
Uh,
Shoot your
yeah,
shot.
exactly, dude. I wish I could find it. I don't know what the date was, but it was like 3 or 4 years maybe now at this point. So good for him.
Yeah.
Obviously
He's
still
got it
doing
out
it,
he's got out the mud, man. He did things the right way.
although he's a fan of Boston. So
Well, yeah, listen, everybody can't be perfect.
that's fair. That's fair. So
Except for us. We try here on the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Welcome, everybody. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Justin Cousart.
yeah, hold on. My hot boys, looking boy is playing in the background.
What?
I was trying to pull up YouTube so I could see if there was a comment. My tweet is everybody has the same story about the dysfunction, but yeah, it's my fault.
I did see this. This is De'Aaron Fox getting a little spicy. I don't know. Like, was it dysfunctional though? Really? Has it been dysfunctional the past 2 years? Like, wouldn't call it. The
It's
Mike
the
Brown
it,
firing was a little unexpected, I guess, but like they've been fine with Doug Christie.
it is the cop out answer or cop out comment for the Sacramento Kings, right? Like
I guess.
because no one really ever talks about them when they're not doing decent. It's like dysfunctional there because they have been in the past. Um, and I would say it's definitely the last few seasons have felt a little bit like a slide. So I don't know if you go dysfunction, but it's definitely not, rainbows and butterflies over there.
De'Aaron Fox has also got exactly what he wanted. So, like, why are you complaining right now?
Yeah.
Like, when all these players that we've talked about, like, the max player empowerment era feels like it's
Yeah.
slowed down a little bit, right? Like, you're not able to fully pick the destination you're going to. I mean, De'Aaron Fox pretty much signaled he wanted to go to San Antonio play with Wemby, and that's exactly what he got. So, I don't know
Hmm.
if he's the guy who should be complaining right now.
Yeah. Well, just let it be. You don't necessarily need to poke the bear in this scenario. Just kind of.
I think everyone should be happy here. Like the Kings got Levine back. They're not just going to suddenly go in the toilet. Like there's a way for them to remain competitive. So I don't know. I feel like, yeah, this isn't really the trade to complain about.
No, though I think both teams did well out of it, and we kind of again, if you want to go back and hear our thoughts about that, we did a little emergency pod in the middle of the week, and you can kind of check that out. So,
Yeah, it's
no
right
need to
there
rehash.
with all our other episodes. Again, look in wherever you get your
Which
podcast, Apple User, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us.
and we should bring up the fact that CJ. Long title here. CJNADONGA 9571. He did comment back to us. We were from our last conversation. He was saying that AD has been healthier than Luka in the past 2 seasons. I still don't get trading the 25-year-old for a 31-year-old. AD is also the only top 10 player they could have traded. Yes, they could have gotten a bunch of picks if they shopped Luka, but probably no player even close to AD. Having said that, 25-year-old for a 31-year-old is just stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll come back with that a little bit. I mean, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to come back with that because I do think there's a little bit of, there's become a little bit of a devaluation of how good Anthony Davis is.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just more about how it was done. It's about the timeline, which I think he hinted at. Like, that's the part to me that's so unforgivable. other than the fact that apparently now all the Mavericks like employees have to just deal with the most like angry fan base of all time.
Yeah, they're
And they've
literally having
basically been like
funerals.
put out there to, they're not getting paid enough money to clean this up, and they have to deal with, again, everyone. God, what's his name? Kirk Henderson is like one of the bigger Mavs writers on Twitter, right? Or like one of the bigger Mavs
Mhm.
fans I know. He's like really invested in this. I mean, he said it as like bleakly as possible when it's like the Mavs may never get a player as good as Luka was for the rest of their lives. Like that might be it. I
And
mean, Lord
now
knows,
he's
like,
been traded.
yeah, like you just kind of let him go. And we'll get back to that a little bit after the break. Again, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us. You know the drill.
Yep, and like we said, we are on YouTube. You can subscribe there, watch video versions of the podcast. And when you subscribe, it's like subscribing to a podcast. You'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
So let's get into the trades. Well, I guess before we do that, let's talk a little bit of the Luka stuff, the Luka fallout. The comments. Obviously, it's come out more that Luka was pretty shocked. He was literally not even on his radar that could be a thing. Brian Windhorst came out saying that he's seething, which is a very choice word, seething at the Mavericks, and he is furious that the whole situation went down. Um, there was some comments that Harrison made it sound like there was some uncertainty with Luka's future, though Luka has kind of come out and made it clear that that was not the case. That his goal long term was to stay a Mav and be a Mav and be there. And like we said, it sounded like he had just signed a deal on a house for 15 mil. So with that, we're essentially rehashing some of the things, though it just points out that again, the dysfunction a little bit, I guess, in this scenario. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Mavs fans should be over apoplectic, and it's not even just because of the Luka stuff too. It's then it's a double whammy. Like you go out and your follow up move is you trade for Caleb Martin, you trade Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is 24 years old. All his advanced metrics have been better than Caleb's have been this year. Like Caleb has been kind of down. Like I was really high on when the Sixers signed him. He just hasn't really worked out that well, and I think, for the Sixers going to get someone like Quentin Grimes, so you're going to have to re-sign in the offseason, but like there's still a little bit of upside there. I don't know. Like, again, there is something to be said about the caliber of player that Anthony Davis is. And I
yes,
don't know necessarily that you may have in a vacuum gotten a player as good as he is in their trade return. Like that does matter. I don't think this team is going to fall off a cliff. Like I do maintain that they're going to remain competitive. You bring in Max Christie. It just, yeah, it's they have to win a title. Like that's what it all comes down to. The only way for this to be any semblance of a success is you have to win a title. And basically, given Anthony Davis's age, like you kind of have a 2-year window with it. Like with Klay Thompson, with Kyrie who's getting older, like there's not really, there's just not really that if they don't get it done.
well, and
You look at what Luka is, what he's probably going to do
mhm.
in LA now. Like there's no way to justify this process. There's no way to justify. And look, I feel bad to an extent for Nico Harrison, the person, in the sense that like he's had to hire security to like guard his house and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Dude, Nico Harrison, if he came to me with that offer and I was the owner of that team, I'd have fired him on the spot. He wouldn't have gotten to the trade booth. He would have been fired on the spot. Like
Well,
it,
yeah.
it's horrendous. It's all time horrible. I feel like Nico's trying to gaslight everybody.
Does it?
I feel bad because I said nice things about him on this podcast. Like I
Yeah.
really thought last year he did a good job of filling that roster
Well,
out. I think his name is going to be like like he's going to be synonymous with, I think, being the worst GM in the league, the way like Stepion is, with Cleveland and all that, where they
yeah.
put the ruling in place for him because he was so bad. Like Nico Harrison, like he just got chumped. Like not only that, like Pelinka used his relationship to like leverage you off another first round pick because he was good. You were so worried about Luka's concerns. Like, bro, you're a sucker. Like Nico Harrison is a sucker who got
Mhm.
played like a sucker.
Well, and does it? Does it do anything for you or make you as a potential Mavs fan, if you're a Mavs fan in this scenario, that the Sixers and Mavs had to amend the trade on Thursday to add the Sixers had to add a second round pick because
No,
of whatever happened in the physical because of the
no,
chip?
no, there's no amending this to me. There's no amount of amending that can be done to me if
No, no,
I'm
no.
you
That's what
better
I'm saying.
deliver the title.
No, that's
Period.
what I'm saying is they had to amend the trade to add more. The Sixers did because apparently whatever happened during Caleb Martin's physical, and I guess with the his hip that's going on right now, like that says to me is, oh, he's not the player we thought we were getting from the physical. Hey, you guys need to throw in a 2025 second round pick just to like make this even since he's not healthy enough with whatever he's dealing with. Like,
Yeah,
if
I
I'm a
mean,
Mavs fan, I go, Jesus, man. On top of doing these 2 trades, you then got a player that was more injured or whatever than you thought. So you had to go back to the Sixers and get an extra little pick just to even it out.
if I'm a Mavs fan, I'm finding a new franchise.
Well, I mean,
That's where
that
seriously, that's where
sounds
I'm
like
at.
we Sixers fans are in for a new franchise and Mavs fans are in for a
Bro,
new franchise.
I am more disgusted with the Sixers than I have ever been in my adult life currently, and I still don't think I would be even as like, oh my goodness. If we had Luka and we traded Luka, I would be outside the arena, I think, with a sign.
Well, that's what a lot of people were doing. They
They
held a
should be. Yeah.
funeral.
I mean,
They held
they
a
got
funeral.
funerals at the thing. They got I love the fans going off. And again, I feel bad too for for AD, for Max Christie, for all these other guys who have to like come in here now and try to clean it up and who are just gonna,
Media ain't
you
easy.
know, I do think AD is gonna ball for them. Like, I think it works out with him and Kyrie. Like, again, they are not going to fall off a cliff, but
Mhm.
there's just nothing I can do, even a week later, where I feel better about this from a Dallas fan. Like, you did the unforgivable if
Yep.
you're a Mavericks fan. You don't trade players that are like that, especially 25. Like, I was out here caping with, even with all his injuries, to keep Embiid up until this year. Like, this is the first year where I've truly moved off it and said, yeah, you know what, the Sixers can move on from Embiid. I'm fine.
So
You
then,
just don't trade players that have that caliber and of them and have shown that potential and have taken you that far. Like,
yeah.
it's unbelievable still to this day.
So I guess the other side of the LA stuff is because LA did do another deal for Mark Williams to in a way replace 80. So we can break down that deal. It was kind of
Yeah.
a few different teams involved, to say it lightly. I think it was 4 teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of multi-team
yeah.
trade this around.
Yeah. So if you don't know Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets, had been a player that was getting a lot of time recently. And I was reading a lot of articles seeing like the Hornets kind of probably did that in a way because of injuries, but also to kind of like showcase Mark Williams' abilities to kind of ship him off. That was kind of the plan. So, um, here we are. He's being added to LA. There is an injury risk, which
80
is
asked for a center, they get their center after they trade him.
yeah, exactly. I know that's funny, right? But he's only played 85 games over the last 3 seasons, a lot of foot injuries and a back injury that only got him in for 19 games in 2023, 2024. A big knock on Williams' game is that he didn't really have a sense of urgency with perimeter defending or boxing out well, though a lot of the blogs that I was reading about him kind of questioned, was it that way because of the team he was on, in terms of like they weren't trying to win, or weren't capable of winning. So was the sense of urgency and stuff like that down? And will a team with a Luka, with a LeBron kind of pick that urgency back up?
Well, that's sure what you're hoping, right? And that's
Yeah.
what you got to believe in when you make this trade. I mean, you nailed it with the durability. Like, that's the biggest concern to me, is missed a lot of time here in the first few years. He's been playing great as of late. But you gave up a fair amount here. Like, Dalton Connect's a young, promising rookie,
Yep.
somebody that we've been really high on. You gave up a 2031 unprotected first. Again, a long way away. The 2030 swap as well. Cam Reddish involved in that trade. And so, yeah, like you definitely paid a lot. You maybe overpaid here a little bit. And so I think that's where the concern you have if you're the Lakers. But at the same time, like, he is not going to need the ball in his hands. He's really good off the pick and roll. He's a really good lob threat. Like,
Mhm.
again, when you play alongside LeBron James and Luka Doncic, like, I don't think you need to overthink it here. Like, I think they almost kind of need him, like, in the Lob City context, if we're going to use them as an example. Like, he almost just needs to play the DeAndre Jordan role. Like, you're right. He's got to rebound. He's got to box out. He's got to get in transition.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, those things are going to matter. and part of that is the durability as well. But
And it's worth mentioning that defensively, though there are some, questions, his rim frequency, which is essentially players' percentages that are when he's matched up on them at the rim, is one of the higher ones in the league. So, like, you see the potential there. You see what the end result can be, and from a point standpoint, just off the traditional stuff, the last 3 years, that's gone up. The blocks have gone up. The rebounds have gone up or stayed about the same. Free throw percentage has gone up. The field goal percentage is a little bit down this year, but he's also shooting a ton more, so you kind of would think that would happen, but true shooting percentage is one of the higher ones in the league for his position. And they always point out he is 7 foot and his wingspan's 7'6". So, like, he's got a huge wingspan, and if he can be that big that just kind of sits back and defends the rim, kind of what AD wanted, it could be really could be a really good fit. And again, as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been a double-double machine this year, basically. I mean, he's just under 10 boards a game. He's
Yep.
averaging 12 points. So, like, there's been a lot of positive there. Again, you're betting on the upside, but that's the type of swing. Like, if you're going to take a swing on a young center, like, that's exactly what you do. I think a lot of what you said too at the beginning, like, he's been playing in Charlotte. Like,
Yeah.
Charlotte hasn't exactly been the most serious organization here over
Where's
the
the
past few
urgency?
years,
And
past
and
few decades, honestly.
well, and from the Charlotte side, right? Like you said, you have Connect. You got Ball and Miller. Like, so with injuries, like when you get those guys back, you can put them all together. That's a lot of shooting. And
Yeah,
the
a little
organization has
forward
come.
overlap too when you got Bridges, but
Yeah, and but the organization has come out that they're looking to be more defensive at the center and the power forward-ish position. So, like, if that's your goal, you have a ton of picks, right? You have the 2027 first from the Heat, which is lottery protected. We'll see where that ends up. You've got the Mavs 2027 as well, which is top 2 protected. You've got the 2030 first round swap with the Lakers. You got the Lakers 2031 first pick. And in between all of that, you have 7 second round picks over that time span. So, like, a lot of tradable assets, or a lot of assets you could bring in young and develop with whatever, or pick the way you need your team to go. So, like, it gives you a little bit more flexibility. You have a lot of draft picks coming up, so you can kind of craft your team the way you want it to be and add those defensive elements that you think you need with potentially these shooters that you got.
yeah, for sure. Like you said, they do need a little bit of everything. I don't know. I'm always a little wary of trading young guys like that. Like, I know they're trying to build more of a
Yep.
defensive identity, but it's like you're gonna trade one of your homegrown guys who's kind of been breaking out here the last few weeks. Like, he had 38 points against Memphis the other night.
Yeah, I'm
So
not convinced. I'm not convinced they weren't doing that to try to, like, make him a little more shiny for trade bait.
yeah, like I don't know. I do like Connect still. I'm still pretty
I do.
bullish on
Yeah,
Connect,
I
so I
get it.
think that's a good get from
Yep.
them. I don't know that, like I said, it's a little repetitive maybe from a fit standpoint, but I don't think they got fleeced here exactly either.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So, I guess do you wanna get any more into the Caleb stuff, or you wanna jump into
No,
Jimmy now?
let's start doing other stuff. We gotta go out west and start talking about Jimmy now that Jimmy Butler in Golden State. And then
Made it
immediately
happen.
signed in 2 years, $120 million extension. So getting what he wants. The Warriors get their move. I don't know. I mean, I think this is I don't know that this is going to make the Warriors better. And that's something we've talked about in the sense that, you're betting on Jimmy. Like, Jimmy is post 35 years old at this point. He hasn't been great for portions of this year. Like, you're betting that he's going to go out and he's going to have a little bit left in the tank for you to make a run at this. And that, you pair Steph Curry with, probably his most talented teammate since KD's left.
Yep.
Like, there are a lot of reasons like this on paper. And that's why I'm not really knocking the swing, especially for the Warriors too. You didn't give up Kuminga or Pods. Like, you didn't really mortgage your future to get this guy. Do I think it's better than they are now? Yes, slightly. How much better? I don't know. And that's the big question. But I know whatever they had going in Golden State wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I'm not really gonna knock them for taking the swing on Jimmy. Like, I think that's exactly the team that should be taking the swing.
Yeah, and I mean, the other team that obviously was potentially considering the swing was the Suns, who are essentially tied when it comes to standings. So if you're a Suns fan, you're probably a little upset about this because you would imagine the Warriors are gonna pop up a little bit higher and move up the the standings. Um, but I also feel the same way you do, where I look at that and I go, I don't think that team's beating OKC really. You know, like yes, I want to bet on Steph. Yes, I know Jimmy's playoff Jimmy situation is always a thing, but like it doesn't really do much for me other than excited to see those two play together. And that's pretty much it from the Golden State Warrior side. And that's, he said he's got his love for the game back, and I'm like, cool. Well, yeah, I would too if I just got paid that much money. Um, but it's just not enough. I don't think, like it's just not enough.
No, I mean,
Well,
Miami gets to end their saga, right? Like, you don't have to deal
yeah.
with this anymore. You can finally have a little bit of peace for the rest of the season. I mean, it is what it is with Miami. We kind of knew they're not going anywhere fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's enough either to compete with OKC and with Memphis and Houston and the other, kind of top tier of the Western Conference right now. But again, I'm willing to find out. Like, and they didn't really give up that much, because worrying about the rental at the time, again, getting that done as well is huge. Having that contract there,
Yep.
like you're just able. I don't know. I mean, you run the risk of Steph asking out then if the Warriors aren't doing anything and just saying, "Hey,
Let me
we're
go
not
get
going to
one.
contend. Like, let me go chase a ring one more time. I've got 4 of these things. Like, maybe let me go chase 5."
Mm-hmm.
I think now you can put that to bed for a little bit. Um, Jimmy versus Trey is going to be must-see TV at some point, so I'm looking forward to that.
Will there be a punch in training camp next year?
I mean, I sure hope not.
Um, the other thing that's worth mentioning that I wanted to bring up is Miami and the Warriors play each other on the 25th of March. And there was already some talk of, the way Miami does things, there will most likely be a tribute video. Though, because it was so tense, I wonder how that's received.
No, it's definitely like it's weird. It's a weird breakup. And I mean, Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler is like, don't get it confused. Jimmy Butler is one of the greatest players in Miami Heat history. I mean, 2 finals appearances. He's way up there in the record
yeah,
books for scoring and every other. Like, there will be a day where, and Miami fans should appreciate the time that he put in there. But it's very awkward when you break up publicly like this. Like, Jimmy was full Jimmy to get out of here. Like, he was just kind of a menace, it sounds like.
suspensions
And
and
so I think
yeah,
like
man.
that frustrates you a little bit here, but I don't think that should take away from what he's done here the past few years.
No, I agree. I just think, it might be received a little weirdly.
It's super awkward for now, for sure. Like, and I mean, I definitely think he burnt the bridge with Pat Riley and Mickey Reason a little bit, but
Mhm, mhm.
we shall see. He should. I mean, he'll get honored there at some point. But
So, um, another trade that we can get into is the Middleton and Kuzma switch. Essentially, the Wizards and the Bucks agreed to a trade. Khris Middleton, AJ Johnson, and a pick swap. Washington is gonna send Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second round pick. Um, I guess like the rundown is Middleton's been with the Bucks for over 10 years, 2013
yeah,
off season. That's a 12 season run with them, a lot of all-stars and playing key role in the championship. But, those ankles are rough. He's had surgeries and trying to get them switched. So Bucks get essentially a younger forward now, more team friendly contract, hasn't had the injury bug, but also hasn't had necessarily a great year this year. 3-point percentage is career low, averaging just 15 points per game. The first 2 years in DC, he was putting up 21. Again, I almost chalk this up to a similar conversation we had with LA. It's like, well, was it he's just not playing as well anymore, or was like the interest kind of dying down though Kuzma
right. Like, was he in the most unserious organization in the NBA, and they were just
right,
letting him develop every bad habit that you possibly could have
or
developed?
Or if you're Kuzma, like, do you actually care? I feel like Kuzma is one of those guys, at least from the last little bit. He's not been like, yes, he's made comments about leaving and stuff like that, but it hasn't been to the Jimmy Butler extent. Like, he
No.
does seem like he's more of a team friendly player in that aspect where he's not going to be like out on social media asking for to be out and stuff like that. So, like, could it have also been just a similar thing where like he lost interest in being there and it was time to move? So, um, the financial side, though, I wanted to bring up the combined salary of Kuzma and Baldwin is actually below what Middleton and Johnson were making. So now the Bucks have been, who were above the tax level, essentially move below that, which gives them some end of the season savings where they might be able to work around some things a little bit. Wizards also get the ability to swap first round picks in 2028 with the Bucks, so it'll be kind of interesting to see that. Though it's worth mentioning, I think Chris, and maybe it was him. Someone put on Twitter that Portland already has the right to swap its first round pick with Milwaukee's first rounder in 2028. So Washington would have the opportunity to swap its own pick for whichever rounder the Bucks would end up with that year, which is kind of weird. But either way, I think the move makes sense. I'm interested to see what kind of Kuzma we see with the Bucks.
Yeah. So a few thoughts. First off, and this is random, but shout out to Hubie Brown, 91 years old. He's calling his final game tomorrow as of recording this. The
Wow.
Sixers and the Bucks play at 2 p.m. So if you're interested in that, the little Super Bowl appetizer, if you will, though I think the Sixers are probably the last thing I want to watch going into an Eagles game. Also makes me want to appreciate what I've had. Man, I've got a stat for you. You ready for this?
Oh boy.
With Khris Middleton getting traded, there are now 4 players who have been on the same team since 2015 consistently. One is Steph Curry.
Yep.
One is Draymond Green.
Giannis.
One is Giannis. The fourth,
Embiid.
Dwight Powell. It's Dwight Powell from Dallas. Embiid, I don't think they count because he didn't play in 2015.
His injury. Yeah, the injury. Yeah.
That is a weird technicality. He should count in there as well. Dwight Powell has been on Dallas that whole time. He's never been traded, which is kind of remarkable because, like, you just think he would have been put in there somewhere. It's not like
at no point thrown out there. Yeah, at no point were you thrown out there, just to see what's up, especially with Dallas being so willing to trade everybody apparently. So.
Yeah. Khris Middleton, man, I feel so bad for this guy. They sent him to Washington. Like, why'd you have to? You couldn't send him anywhere else. Like, man, Khris Middleton is a Bucks franchise legend. Like, he's won the title with Giannis. He's been Giannis's running mate for a long time. I mean, those two are linked together. Like, this truly is the end of an era with them playing together. I also think, again, like, we're on Giannis watch a little bit. Like, I think we got to see what the Bucks do here. We want to see how the second half goes. But, like, I think I don't know. It's interesting a little bit. So, like, Middleton's been dealing with a ton of injuries, obviously, and that's been the story this year is, like, he hasn't really been able to get into rhythm at points. Like, he's missed a lot of time. I mean, you go back and you look at he's played 23 games. Oh, God, excuse me. Never ends. This is the most frustrating sickness of all time. He's played 23 games this year, right?
Yep.
So I'll go back to January 8th. That's his 13th game. His scoring totals 8, 11, 16. Then he was inactive. 14, 13, 13, inactive. And then, from January 25th, 0, 22, 0, 21, 20. And so there's a part that genuinely, like, you ask yourself, is Khris Middleton just Khris Middleton of the past? Like, has the ship sailed there? Has Father Time finally caught up with him? That's a valid comment. Like, I don't really find any issue with that. I think if you want to debate moving on from Middleton, then that's fine. Like, that's not, I personally would have liked to see him a little bit longer and you figure it out because there's just no planet where I'm trading him for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, you're being kind to him. He stinks this year. He is horrible. He's not, every one of his stats has plummeted. And it's not just like, I'm not chalking it up to bad habits. Kuzma's 29 at this point. Like, dude, his box plus minus this season is minus 5.3. Like, his defensive is a big negative. His offensive is a big negative. Like, they've plummeted since 2022, 2023, when he kind of went to Washington. Like, Kuzma's getting the rep off those Lakers minutes and all that, which I understand. But, like, I don't blame this on the Wizards. Like Kuzma's
No.
just kind of stunk as well. And so you're going to plug Kuzma into this mix, I think, almost expecting him to be like this third guy that gets you over the top. Good luck. Like if that's what you're
Yep.
betting on, I don't know. I'm less bullish on the Bucks post this trade. Like they had done a decent job of contending. And I think there was a scenario where like, you know, they're one out of those, like one out of every 100 scenarios. There's a way to win the title if you're
Yep.
Milwaukee,
Yep.
which is better than a lot of teams. But I don't know. I'm very unsold on this move from Milwaukee. I think this is a bad trade.
Well, and yeah, it does. It's not great, right? Like you look at all the stats. You were just even if you compare the guys, like Khris Middleton's got him in pretty much everything. I mean, one of the things that sticks out to me is true shooting percentage for Kuzma. He's in the 12th percentile for his position, which is absolutely terrible. At a 48%. And you do look back at his stats, which are all around down in 2025 compared to 24 and 23, which like the scoring is the one that sticks out the most from points is he's from 22 to 15. Like that's a pretty drastic drop off. That's like almost 2021 numbers from him. And so you wonder what is again, I just go back like the 3-point center percentage is abysmal. And so I wonder if a little bit of it is him just not caring on the Wizards. I do wonder if these first few games we see like a more involved, a more passionate Kuzma. And if not, then yeah, I'm right there with you where I'm like, oof, this ain't it. But if he pops back up to a 36, which again is 2021, 2022, where he's a little bit higher three-point percentage.
You got to go back 3 years.
I know. But again, that takes him back to like almost LA, right? So like different team, a little more passionate, potentially carrying some more. Again, it wasn't great numbers. It was I think it was 36% on 2021, 34% in 2022, but he's at 28% 3-point percentage this year. Like that's so not good.
He's been bad. It's not like, he's been fine. He's actively been bad this year. And I understand. Again, I am with you. You take a little bit of benefit of the doubt because it's Washington, but like, I don't know that Kuzma is going to be able to undo all the unserious habits he's picked up in the past 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think Milwaukee's good enough to just kind of make up for it right away. Like they're going to need him to be good. And I don't know. Good luck.
He's got a negative 0.8 VORP this year. He's never been negative 0.8. He was only negative 0.2 in 2020. Everything else has been at least positive for him. So,
I mean, he's played the first game already. He played 26 minutes. What do you give it? He had, sorry, hang on. Let me find why did the game log vanish on me? Yeah, he played one game. He was 4-13 from the field. He's 3 of 8 from behind the arc. So I guess it's a little better, but like he had 12 points.
Yeah.
He's 7 boards. Like, that's not the guy that's going to, like, Khris Middleton probably could have given you that.
Yeah. But if he can get that percentage a little bit better, you don't need a ton out of him like that. Like you got Dame, you got Giannis. Like those are supposed to be the guys, so you can be the third guy essentially here. But I agree where Kuzma's more that spot up kind of shooter in a way, and that's not necessarily the game Khris Middleton played. So you do need to adjust the offense if you are going to get him involved. Again, I don't think you need to necessarily you got your 2 guys you're going to get involved in, and Kuzma just goes out and gets what's open when it's time. So, that's again, I'm just being optimistic here.
No, I'm with you. I appreciate your optimism. I just I don't really have any for the steal. I think this is a bad move for the Bucks.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I bet like the first few weeks after the All-Star game is kind of going to be a little telling on that one.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, should we go to Brandon Ingram now, since we're talking about questionable moves that make no sense to me?
Sure. Yeah. Ingram ends up in Toronto.
I can't dunk on Toronto because I'm a Sixers fan, which is really unfortunate. And I want to, but like I'm old enough to remember when teams told me that they were going to trade their entire rosters to get Masai Ujiri running their team. And like, what exactly? The Raptors have been like lost at sea for 5 years now.
Yeah, it's not great. Like you were always trying to figure out what the direction was, right? They've got some young guys. Like they do have a young team, but I guess that almost goes to my point of I don't think Ingram fits that. Um, so at least, so yeah, so they get Bruce Brown Jr. Or they send Bruce Brown Jr. and Kelly Olynyk, the first round and a second round pick. And then there was something with the first rounder is the Indiana Pacers top 4 protected 2026 pick, which was what they got in the Pascal Siakam deal. So that second rounder is going to come from 2031. So that's down the line. So nothing to necessarily look into there. But, Barnes got to get paid. Or the rookie extension or the maximum salary extension, rookie sale contract that's got to get done and happen. And then you've got Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, and Podol, and so they're on the books for 80 mil. So if you pay Ingram, like it doesn't, it's like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit.
Right. And he might walk. Like,
He
that's
could
what's the
walk.
thing is, or I don't understand it. Like, he may not even stay here. And
Well, but
okay, so that's your
he
roster,
did
right? You've got Pirtle, you've got Emmanuel Quickly, you've got RJ Barrett, you've got Brandon Ingram, and you've got
Barnes.
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes. Mhm.
Okay, now what? Like,
Yeah.
none of those guys necessarily fit each other time-wise.
No, but I think you're hoping Barnes, like, you're essentially trying to build around Barnes. I don't think this was the move to do that, though. I think it is worth mentioning Ingram did waive his trade bonus, so that they could save 2.1 mil. That would have counted against the Raptors cap tax. So now they can kind of get some little season deals, 10-day contracts and stuff like that. If they have to, they have a little more wiggle room with that. So I guess reading between that lines, that potentially means you can get a deal done if he's already trying to be a little team friendly there.
Yeah, I guess. But then even then, like, how much am I paying Brandon Ingram?
Right.
What is my game plan here? Like, that's really what it comes down to for me is it's like, what am I doing? What is our long-term vision? And I mean, I don't know. Like, they protected their top 4 protected the 2026 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it might not, it's coming from the Pacers. Like, who knows where that's going to be? The Pacers, I know they made the conference finals last
Yep.
year, but they've been kind of
Mm-hmm.
Does Brandon, you talk about Scotty Barnes, like they're betting for the Scotty Barnes breakout. Does Brandon Ingram even fit with Scotty Barnes? Like, are we sure that that's going to work out well? I don't really know that. They're going to kind of like, I feel like they'll run into some few like spacing issues there.
They could, yeah, they could. And Barnes has been up points, blocks, steals, assists. Like he's definitely on an upswing. Field goals and stuff are down a little bit, but he's taking a lot more shots. So, well, not a ton more shots.
It just feels like this should be a team racing to the bottom right now. Like, they have 16 wins. There's 4 teams in the NBA that are worse than them right now, all of which are actively blowing it up. I don't know. I don't get adding Brandon Ingram. So what? Now you can contend with the play-in spot? Like, sick.
Essentially, but maybe they see that they want to get Scotty that playoff experience a little bit. Maybe
But he got it. Like, they made the
like,
playoffs recently.
I know, but they want to get more playoff experience from you being the guy now. Like
what? So you're Chicago and you go out and you be the 9 seed every year and just get your doors blown off?
Pretty much. I mean, or maybe just do that one year and then hopefully you're able to flip some other things, whatever that looks like. Like, I don't know.
Congratulations, you're Atlanta. You're the Hawks. You're fighting for 9 and 10 every year,
and
not doing
potentially
anything
lose your
bad.
star, which is, that's a whole nother conversation we can talk about.
That segues us right into Atlanta, though, because Atlanta made. I mean, to me, it's not. It doesn't have the star power, obviously, but Atlanta trading DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland for Karis LeVert and a pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal for Cleveland because a lot of what we talked about earlier in the show is like, you're right. Cleveland's had all the success. I love Kenny Atkinson. We said a lot of great things about them this year. I have zero confidence for them to beat Boston come playoff time. Like, when it matters, it just feels like the lights are going to turn on for this team. DeAndre Hunter's a good get for them. Like, that's exactly the type of player they needed. A 3-and-D wing. He'll give you way more productive minutes than LeVert's going to give you, and that's even with LeVert having a bit of a bounce back here.
Mm-hmm.
He can shoot the ball pretty well. Again, the defense is kind of what I'm talking about, though. Like, you're gonna put him on, Jason Tatum on potentially Jaylen Brown at points, And I think he'll have the ability to do that. I mean, this season he's shooting 39% from 3-pointers, almost 19 points a game. He's not going to be quite asked to do as much offensively, but I think this is a great get for Cleveland. Like, this doesn't sell me to like, oh yeah, they're going to be Boston now. That's the move they needed. But I give them a lot more credit than I do this morning than I did before that trade happened.
Their 2 losses that they had to Boston, which we already alluded to at the beginning of the episode, is they were 4 for 12 and 4 from 19 from 3. So what do? You go and you get some 3-point shooters to hopefully change that, because that's essentially what the Cavs have picked out as, this is why we lost. We couldn't hit our threes. Let's go get some guys that can hit some more threes against these guys. So when we're in the playoffs, that's not the conversation. And
Right.
I mean, it still will be. That is exactly, like, if these 2 teams end up playing each other, that's what the key of the game is going to be, is can the Cavs capitalize on the 3, or is the Celtics defense going to hold them again? And if that's the case, then that's a wrap for the Cavs. And so I think they have one more game against each other before the playoffs. So I think that game will be a little telling.
Yeah, I do too, a little bit. Like, you want to have, I mean, they've been competitive, but
Mm.
you're right. Like, you don't want to have you don't want that mental block to form.
Right.
But again, just Hunter is a playoff type guy. Now for Atlanta, the flip side of that is, again, you do need to kind of start operating, I think, as if Trae Young may not be here. Like, I do think that may, that could very well be a thing. It feels like, and I honestly wouldn't hate it. I kind of think the Hawks need to do a little bit of a full reset here. They've been stuck in neutral for a little bit. Trae Young would be a guy who certainly would get you that reset very quickly. But that's tough. It's hard to move on from a guy who's been a fan favorite, a guy who's got them to the conference finals, even if it's a few seasons now at this point. But kind of the running in place is not what Atlanta needs to keep doing.
Well, and that kind of, to that point, there has been the Trae Young combo, and so we'll obviously see where that ends up down the line. But with him,
It's worth watching. It's definitely worth watching.
I mean, at some point, you either got to pull the trigger or and get something for him, or let him get frustrated enough that he walks. And so, I don't think we're at that conversation yet, but we're definitely getting close. And I know the halftime show guys were talking about it a little bit. Like, it's becoming a thing a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. Again, definitely worth watching. It's one of the, not quite Giannis watch level, but I definitely think keep an eye out on Atlanta the next.
He wants to win. He wants to win, and if he's not able to do it in Atlanta, I mean, you got to figure something out. So
we're skipping who's balling, who's falling this week. We're gonna go into grid in a sec, but we do want to kind of mention in who's balling, who's falling fashion, some winners and losers from this deadline. There are a few other minor moves that, like, I know particular. I thought the Clippers did a good job getting Bogdanovich. If he fits, I think that's a really good move for them. They moved on from Terrence Mann, which is shocking because he's just been so untouchable in these deals the last little bit. But on paper, I think if Bogdanovich regains his form, that works out really well there. The other losers to me, I mean, we're not going to go in depth about the Sixers. The Sixers are a joke. We kind of talked about that, alluded to, but like the way they got beat by Detroit last night, like Daryl Morey had the nerve to go out and say that if you squint, you could think this team is a finals game. Like, Daryl Morey, get out of town. Like, pack your bags and get out of here. Like, you're like, I'm so, like, you want to talk about the most brain dead thing you could have said at this point? Like, that was it.
It gave the that drawing troll head, the like stick figure troll head that everyone does that posts on like social media. That's what I thought when I saw that. Let me see if I could find a picture to give you.
There's definitely that a little bit. I think I know what you're talking about, but it's 100% what I think Morey is doing here. I mean, the other big loser for me is Phoenix, of course, just because it's super awkward now. And like, look, we know Phoenix is stuck in neutral. Weren't going to be able to trade Jimmy because of the Beal contract. The way to get out of it would have been to trade Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant would have bought you. Wow. Like, he would have reset everything really, really fast. And I think now you're just kind of stuck with this. Yeah, it's 100% what Morey was doing.
That was what Morey's face was as he was saying that.
Right. The ultimate troll face, unserious behavior. You're right. That's exactly what Daryl Morey was doing. The Suns, it's just everything around that locker room feels bad right now. And trading Kevin Durant, somebody who still clearly has a ton of value, he's Kevin friggin' Durant. There would have been anybody I feel like would have been knocking to that. If you're Memphis, if you're Houston, like that's exactly the team you push in for. Golden State apparently was trying to get back in the mix, bring him back there, which would have made a ton of sense. Like Phoenix, like it's not working. Clearly it's not working. Like I know they made the Nurkic deal, like they moved things around a little bit, but it's like this team desperately needed something to change. And it felt like they finally were going to have the stones to do something about it, but
Well, not even that. I'm gonna say they're fallen or failure of the trade deadline for a different reason. You let the main target that you had go to a team that's tied with you in the record. I think they might actually have one more win now, but you
yeah.
went to someone who quite literally is competing with you for a play-in spot, and now seemingly is going to be able to take it from you. And you're stuck with Beal's contract, which takes us to the whole nother level of like it might actually be immovable right now. And like
Yeah,
that
it's immovable.
goes to your point. Then you start looking at the other guys, but I don't think you can let KD go. Like I don't think you can. You gotta
You have to. What are you gonna
I
you're not
know.
gonna let Book go.
Well, yeah.
Book is younger.
Right. Yeah, Book's younger, but yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's the way you reset this. And like I know
Right.
that's a difficult conversation, but like that's it. You swung on Beal. It didn't work. He's got a no trade clause because this
Yeah.
agent's the greatest agent of all time.
Yep.
And that's it. Like point blank period.
I'll say my winners. Obviously the Lakers,
Yeah.
obviously Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
I would go as far to say the Spurs with De'Aaron Fox are winners.
I think Spurs are a winner. Yeah.
I think they're very much winners, and they didn't have to move much with their draft capital. Wow! And what's worth mentioning is they have a bunch of the picks from the Hawks. So you look at that now, and you're like, ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
we're
Could be valuable next year if Atlanta decides to blow it up.
we're sitting real pretty right now. So yeah, we'll I would say the Spurs are a big winner this time as well. So
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, Spurs definitely winners to me. I think the
yeah,
Cavs are winners. I do like that Hunter pickup for them. Losers for me are the Bucks. Like the Heat are like they're fine.
it's fine. Yeah, I still think they'll be.
Orlando's a loser to me by not doing anything. I'm really disappointed in Orlando's front office. I think they desperately need to get some help around Franz and Paulo. Like go out for a guard, go out. I heard them in like the Kobe White rumors. I thought that would have been a great
Kobe
pickup.
would have been a great one. Yeah.
There's nothing there. I would have loved to see them get Cam Johnson. He didn't end up moving. Chicago's another loser for me too. Chicago stinks. They're so unserious. Like we've talked about this before, but it's like everything that they've done back to the Caruso trade, like when DeMar left, now with the Levine trade, I just don't feel like they adequately recouped anything. And so you're just kind of stuck. And then you've got Karnisovas going out, and he's like, "Oh, well, our goal is to make the play-in game every year. And if we have 9 to 10 good players, who worries about needing elite talent?" And it's just like that, again, fireable comments. Like, I didn't think the Bulls could have a worse front office than they did under the Garrett Pax regime. And amazingly, they found a way. Like, thank God this team had MJ in the 90s,
Yeah.
because if not, like, this would be like, they'd be mentioned as an all-time loser franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that kind of, at least from the showcase wise, is the losers on my side as well. Just based off not doing a move. And yeah, I don't think anybody else really sticks. I mean, I still would put Mavs there for what they did. But that's a whole different combo. So
Yeah.
that we already hashed out. So yeah, I would just add them to my loser list, and that's about it.
Yeah, but either way, shout out to the NBA for providing us the most memorable deadline that we ever could have possibly asked for. Nico Harrison, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for this guy. But I mean, this is also a guy apparently botched the Steph Curry Nike presentation. So like maybe we shouldn't be surprised. Like this dude just might be bad.
Yep. Yeah.
Like if your legacy is botching the Nike Steph Curry shoe presentation, letting him go to Under Armour and trading Luka Donicic, like maybe you should just go find another like sport.
Yeah, different sport. Maybe try something different and see what happens. So,
all right, let's play some grid here real quick. We'll end on some Immaculate Grid. Oh, we got a little college in the mix today. I haven't had that in a while.
UK.
All right, so it would have been fitting. I got the Huskies hat on right now. If you're watching on stream for UConn, maybe if we get a little UConn in there, but not quite this week. For the podcast listeners, again, you can always watch our Immaculate Grids on YouTube, but our columns this week for the listeners are the Pelicans on the left, All-Star in the middle, and 20 points a game per season. a rose from top to bottom of the Lakers, the Mavericks. Boy, that's fitting. And Kentucky. So, few different options here.
Yep.
I feel like we should do UK. UK is the hardest for us just because we're not as much a college people.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is the obvious answer for Pelicans. I mean, he now works for all of these.
Yeah, he does
the
actually.
grid of AD. I mean, yeah, AD. I'm trying to think of the Pelicans, if they've had anybody else from Kentucky recently.
Recently, I don't know.
Yeah,
We could go all the way back to, it wasn't DeMarcus Cousins was UK, right?
DeMarcus Cousins was UK.
Yeah.
We could do that. That's a great one. DeMarcus Cousins UK. There works.
Yeah. That would be a good one.
Yeah, he'll be lower.
19. Jeez.
I mean, yeah, 8 because UK for All-Star, UK for 20 a game. I mean,
still a little high. Like that's wild to me that people thought that.
That is a little wide. It's a little higher than I expected.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, John Wall would work for All-Star UK and probably 20 points per game in UK.
So while we do this is what I'm thinking for time's sake. I mean, pick your poison. You want to go Wall for All-Star, you want to go Wall for 20 game per season. The other one I was going to do is Tyrese Maxey. Our boy Tyrese Maxey. The only good thing about the Sixers is from Kentucky.
Let's do Maxey 20. Because I bet people...
Maxey's only made one All-Star game.
Yeah, let's do Maxey All-Star. I'm just worried because it was more recent than Wall.
Yeah, but like Wall is like one of the more famous Kentucky players.
Literally, he has a song. All right, so let's do. You want to do Maxey here?
Yeah.
As I there he is. Okay, 3%.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
And do you want to go Wall 20 points per game, or you want to go someone different?
I'm trying to remember. I almost said Derrick Rose, but I'm like, wait a minute. Derrick Rose played for Cal, but it was in Memphis. I'm
Devin Booker. Book.
Book. You know what? Book would be a good one, too. Know who else honestly probably works? So I don't remember why I know he played for Kentucky, but he definitely did. And I'm pretty sure he had 20 a game per season at one point. Dude, Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe played for Kentucky.
Eric Bledsoe played? Okay. I can go. We can go Bledsoe.
Let's do Bledsoe. He'll have 20.
Eric Bledsoe, 20.5.
Yeah, nice. Hell yeah.
All right. Mavs, Pelicans, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, AD, it certainly worked. I mean, his AD played his first game the other night for them, right? Or is he not suited up yet? Because I know he's been dealing with the injury. Like, that's the only thing.
That's a good call. I don't know.
I don't think he's made his debut yet.
Okay. So we'll bail off that.
Because you have to have played a game. I mean, yes, he's on the roster right now, and that will be an answer. But you're right.
You need to play. Yeah, you're right. If he has,
I mean, with the Lakers and the Pelicans, you have all the opposite of that trade too, right? So like, you've got Lonzo, you've got Julius Randle, you've got Brandon Ingram, you've got.
Oh, you know who else works in all of these? Rondo.
Yeah, he does actually. Wow,
he might work in actually every single. I don't know about All-Star for.
He wasn't an All-Star for Lakers or Mavs, so it wouldn't work for that context. But yeah, why don't we do Rondo for Pelicans and Dallas? He'll be lower for that because I think Dallas tries to forget that happened.
Rondo, 22%.
Wow, yeah.
Okay. I mean, because I bet people bailed off Anthony Davis and were like, okay, we need to think of someone else. Oh, you know who would have worked? JJ Redick would have worked there too.
He would have. Wow, that was a good one. You're right. I forgot he was on Dallas at the end of his career.
He never made it to the Lakers, right?
Not his player.
Was JJ no. Okay.
No, he was none of those. You get me more on the 20 a game than you could on the All-Star.
Yeah.
He definitely was an All-Star.
All right.
Do you have to be an All-Star with that team, or do you just have to generally be an All-Star?
I think you have to be with the team.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like Julius Randle would be probably a good All-Star in Lakers, but he just doesn't.
So Ingram would work here for Lakers. Pelicans.
Ingram, Lonzo.
Lonzo.
Josh Hart works there, low key.
Josh Hart would be a good one. Did Ingram make an All-Star with? Oh no, he would have been the Pelicans if anything.
Yeah, I think they traded him before he made All-Star. I think he's made All-Star.
You must have been an All-Star with season on that team. Yeah. Okay. So we need a Laker All-Star. So like LeBron and that would be fine. But
yes, LeBron would work.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Brandon Ingram didn't. I know Lance Stevenson ended up on the Lakers. I don't know if he ever played for the Pelicans though. Um,
I'm pretty sure he did actually. I feel like we did that before. Like, didn't he have a game or two there?
I don't know. I know he came back.
He
And I
definitely was
remember
on the
making
Lakers, and I'm
yeah, I
pretty
remember making
sure.
jokes because it was him and LeBron, and it was like, "Oh, that's funny," because they were, like, enemies.
Yeah, we should do Lance there. I'm fine with Lance there.
You wanna
I'm
try
I'm
Lance?
almost positive he works for the
We
Pelicans.
probably did it in the past. I don't remember. Yeah, point 2. Okay, so he was on the Pelicans
Sick.
at one point. Um, okay. Oh, do you wanna go, Paul Gasol, All-Star for
Yeah,
Lakers?
yeah, it's fine. I like Pal. Pal's a famous
Yeah.
guy.
I feel like he's always like the 9%. He'll be like
Yeah,
the lesser of
you got a
the
zillion options for Lakers for
yeah.
All-Stars. Kind of like you got a zillion options for Lakers in 20. I'm trying to think of some of their like towards the end when Kobe, like towards the end of Kobe's career, I'm trying to think of like some of the Lakers teams that he played with where they just like weren't that good,
Mhm.
but they might have a guy like somebody on the team.
Oh, hold on. Do we think what's his name, who had bad knees, they traded him to the Sixers. He ever put up 20 in a season?
Oh, Bynum?
Bynum? You think
Oh
Bynum
my
was a 20
god,
pointer?
he might have.
I don't know. I wasn't, like, fully into basketball at that point. I just remember it from the
The
Sixers side of
the
things.
problem with Bynum is that he played with Powell and Kobe, and so I worry about
Yeah,
that cannibalizing a lot of
yeah.
his.
I don't know if he ever did. He might have just been a rebound guy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it.
Um,
Like I'm trying to think of like the year after Kobe retired when it was all the young guys, if anybody was like averaging 20.
Kuzma, Ingram, and them.
Yeah, and I don't think they were. Like, I mean, Ingram was eventually, but
Yeah, I
he's
don't
not.
know if I would be confident saying Ingram for Pelicans 20, but not, hmm. When did, oh, no, that was dunk contest, never mind. Um
God, other Lakers guys average 20. I mean, AD works, LeBron works, Shaq works.
um, yeah,
I'm trying to remember that first stint, if like Dwight ever averaged 20.
I doubt it.
I don't think he did either. And
Um,
Kobe was just again, Kobe was eating so many of those stats, man.
yeah.
I mean, if you want to go like older guys, like I think of like the James Worthies of the world. Um, because he was the third fiddle on that team behind Magic, behind Kareem. Like
Yeah.
both of them work. Wilt works. I mean George Mikan, if you really want to go boomer with it, works. Jerry West works. Elgin Baylor works.
Who else? What was the other side of the Swaggy P drama? He wasn't putting up 20, right?
No, D'Angelo Russell, not there at
Not at
least.
that point, yeah.
Um,
But he came back. He never put up 20 at when he
no,
came back?
not with Braun and them. No.
Yeah, okay. I mean, do we just go chalky then? You wanna go old school chalky?
Yeah, why don't we do James Worthy?
Worthy?
Let's do Worthy. I think he'll be a little lower than some of these other legends.
James Worthy, 6%, there
There
you
you go,
go.
goggles and all.
Goggles and all. So, obviously, Dirk works for the last 2 connections that we have here for Mavs All-Star, Mavs 20 points. Um, Wes Matthews, you think he was ever doing 20?
No. No, man, I love Wes Matthews, but I don't think he was scoring 20 anywhere.
Nah, he was the defensive guy. Tyson Chandler?
No, Tyson never had 20 either.
Oh,
I mean, Mavs guys had 20 besides Dirk and Luka and Kyrie.
Luka would work. We should do Luka just out of pettiness.
That's so petty. I would. Um, the other ones that would have had 20 like back in the day, it was like, I don't know if Nash did, but Nash would have been close. Michael Finley definitely had it.
What about JJ Barea?
No way he had 20. No way.
Who was the other one? The heavier set a guy that everyone always made fun of. For Jimmer.
Oh, God,
Bread.
Jimmer barely was in the league, I feel like. At least JJ at least was playing a few years.
Rondo we already used, and he wouldn't have been either of those for this one. DeAndre Jordan?
Dude,
He never went, right?
there are barricades up around American Airlines Arena tonight, by the way.
Whew.
I mean, man, like,
Yeah.
that's going to be the most hostile home environment of all time in a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
Dang.
I mean, Luka's going to be the top answer for 20 points per game. Like, we've got multiple answers. I just don't think I have anybody good.
Should we go Luka All-Star, Dirk 20 and just flip it?
No, go Michael Finley. Do Luka and then do Michael Finley. I feel like that'll be a better percentage-wise.
Finny.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I think he was oh, God, I hope he was an All-Star.
Oh, you want to do him at 20?
I mean, no, you know what, do Finley at 20. Luka's going to be high at 20.
Finn. Why wasn't he pumping up?
Finley.
Oh, not 2
Yeah,
N.
only 1L. Or 1N, I should say.
There he is, 5%. Luka to lock it in. If I can spell Luka.
Oh, UK.
Oh, my God. I know that one, too. That's just...
All right, yeah. I mean...
90. Okay.
No real doubt about it. You want to scroll down to the most popular answers? Let's see what we got. All right. Wow, it was Brandon Ingram over AD for most popular for Lakers Pelicans.
It's so recent. And literally the trade just happened.
I mean, with AD being in Kentucky, I guess that makes sense too. But all right, so most popular answers for Lakers Pelicans, Brandon Ingram. For Lakers and All-Star was James Worthy, which, wow.
That's crazy that Devin Booker was the most 20 points per game UK.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I get that, though. That makes sense. Kobe, the most popular Laker for 20 a game per season. JJ Redick is the most popular for Pelicans and Mavericks.
Yeah.
Dirk for Mavericks and All-Star, and Dirk for 20 points a game per season for the Mavericks. Maybe they're just, man, I think that Luka, they're hurt to put Luka's name even in for the grid right now.
Curious to see All-Star. Let me see if I can grab those real quick. See who else is there.
Anthony Davis, most popular Pelicans for UK. John Wall, most popular UK All-Star, and most popular Kentucky 20 points a game per season is Devin Booker.
Jason Kidd did get one All-Star with Dallas.
Really?
Steve Nash.
Nash, I believe, did. Kidd, I'm surprised. I guess off the legend discount, like he was getting All-Star games then with Dallas, but like I would have never in a zillion years thought Jason Kidd had an All-Star game with Dallas.
Kidd got 2. He got 95, 96 with Dallas.
Oh, the early one. Wow, you're right.
And then he got one in 2009, 2010. Yeah.
Man, wow, the early one. I forgot about. I always forget that he started his career there because I'm so used to like him playing on, with the Suns and with the Nets and such.
And then from the which one was the other one? 20 points. So we need to see Dallas. Oh, Kyrie would have worked.
Yeah, we said Kyrie.
Oh, did we say Kristaps Porzingis apparently works? That's a good one.
I didn't think he had 20. I knew he was kind of I didn't know if he had 20.
He was at 20.1. Like he's right there. Michael Finley's in there at 20.6, but he's in there a few different times. Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn. You start going back older.
Mashburn. Wow, I don't associate Mashburn with Dallas at all.
Ronaldo Blackman, Mark Aguirre, Jay Vincent, and that kind of rounds it out. So there you go.
Yeah, not bad at all. We want to recap our grid one last time. All right, so Pelicans and Lakers, we got Lance Stevenson. For Lakers All-Star, Pau Gasol. For Lakers 20 game per season, James Worthy. For Mavs and Pelicans, Rajon Rondo. For Mavs All-Star, Luka Donicic. For Mavs 20 a game per season, Michael Finley. For Pelicans and Kentucky, DeMarcus Cousins. For Kentucky All-Star, Tyrese Maxey. And for Kentucky 20 a game per season, Eric Bledsoe. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Driving Dish NBA podcast. We appreciate you guys as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And we're on YouTube. Give us a follow. You can watch a video version of the podcast.